Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on Traptrix, another fan favorite, especially because like Traptrix, is still pretty good right now actually. I feel like this is like one of the big sleeper decks, especially because like most people tend to get thrown off by Traptrix. Yeah, it's pretty gimmicky when it comes to like doing what it does, especially because like not only is it like very combo focused, but it's also very control focused as well because the fact that you basically get access to a lot of your normal traps, in which case the ones that specifically have hole in the name. And yeah, like Traptrix it's got a lot of good matchups, and if you play it correctly, this deck can be pretty oppressive if your opponent's just not prepared. And that's just what I wanted to share with you guys today. So let's go and get started. My main deck is 40 cards, starting off with 3 copies of obviously the best starter, 3 copies of Traptrix Mermelio. On normal summon, it can add any normal trap as long as, like I said, it's a hole, like basically like bottomless trap hole, Holatea, etc. It also has a mandatory effect if it's special summon, where you basically get to pop 1 spell or trap your opponent controls. And yeah, that's pretty good because we do have ways to kind of cheese that out. So yeah, Mermelio is pretty strong overall. Next up, 3 copies of Traptrix Mantis. It's basically searches out any Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. And quick effect, you can target 1 set spell or trap you control, return it to the hand, and then you can set 1 spell or trap directly from your hand. Now, this might not seem relevant at first, but trust me when I say this, this does see some relevancy, especially with Dianaea's effect. And yeah, basically it's just a good way to keep your cards from being destroyed or banished, whatever. So like, and if you just need to dodge like one of your opponent's like spell or trap card removal, that's just a way to help you deal with that, But anyway, moving on. I'm now playing just 2 copies of Traptrix Pudica. I was playing 3 at first, but because, I decided to change up my ratios in some ways. I decided to just play 2 Pudica, especially because I'm only on like 1 of the field spell, and that's generally what she's for. And if she's special summon, you can banish one of your opponent's monsters. Yeah, it comes back on the next standby phase, but I mean, that's not really going to be an issue considering that since it is treated as a special summon, you can just activate one of your trap holes and yeah, just kind of go from there. Moving on, 2 copies of Dianaea. If this card is normal summon, you can target 1 Traptrix monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. And then when this card is special summon, you can target 1 whole normal trap in your graveyard, set that target, but banish it during the end phase of your next turn if it's still there. So, and this is kind of like where Mantis's effect becomes a little relevant. That way you can basically just kind of like recycle it, that way you don't lose it for good, 2 copies of Arachnid Kampa. This is basically your extender, but it also has protection effect, where it keeps your back row from being destroyed. So yeah, Arachnid Kampa is pretty nice in its own right. All right, so that rounds up our main Traptrix lineup. For my other cards here, I got 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. This card's still pretty strong in Traptrix, especially because it's a 1-card Rafflesia, and Rafflesia is definitely one of those cards you want to turbo out as quickly as possible. That we can play around cards like Nib and so forth. And I'm still running the Lady Labyrinth tech card because it can't be targeted while you control back row, or rather set back row, and since Arachnid Kampa also grants protection for your back row, yeah, having that little lock there, it can be pretty annoying. Plus she's big, so like, yeah, I figured just having like a big beater in the deck, especially one that can bring herself out, especially if you train her effect off of a normal trap, that's still really powerful as well. So yeah, 1 Lady Labyrinth is still pretty good. All right, now for my hand trap lineup, 3 copies of Ash. Ash is just really strong. 3 Nib, especially because like we don't have any of the Omni negates anymore, so like I feel like Nib is still really powerful. You gotta watch out for that new trap card, that Dominus card, since it can in fact negate this if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, if you're going second, that's really not a problem. But other than that, yeah, I just like Nib. 3 copies of Imperm, just because, good, a better version of Effect Veiler in my opinion, but yeah, I like it overall. All right, now for my spell lineup, I'm only playing 3 spells, so like 1 copy of Traptrix Garden. I decided to go and throw in 1 Pot of Prosperity. It's limited, and since, I kind of adjusted my extra deck a little bit, I can in fact afford to play at least and resolve 1 Pot of Prosperity anyway, so yeah, it's not too bad. And of course, the 1 copy of Called by the Grave. We can play around Disruption pretty well, so like, I feel like not having any of the triple T cards is necessary. I mean, you still can if you want, but yeah, I feel like just 3 spells is all I need. All right, now we're going into the trap lineup. Playing 3 copies of Traptrix Holatea. This card's pretty nuts because like you can discard any normal trap to activate this immediately the turn you set it. It's a trap monster and is a good way to trigger off Sarah's effect. 3 evenly matched just as a good board breaker. And then for the main trap lineup that I'm going for here is 2 copies of Gravediggers, 1 Traptrix Trap Hole of Nightmare, 1 Bottomless, 1 Floodgate, 1 Time Space, and last but not least, 1 Banishing Trap Hole. This card's really good. It's probably my favorite of the bunch because it banishes face down, and there aren't many cards that can do that, so yeah. Definitely something to consider. Alright, so now moving on to the extra deck. And like I said, my extra deck did undergo some changes. Starting off with 3 copies of Sarah. Definitely the best card in the entire extra deck, especially because like her abilities are just crazy. So if you activate a normal trap, you can special summon 1 Traptrix monster from your deck. And if you activate an effect of a Traptrix monster, you could set a whole trap card directly from your deck. So yeah, Sarah's just like so good because like it just does so much for 1 little card. And yeah, definitely have to play this at 3. 1 Oedipus, you know, just a great card overall. I'm still running the Aromaseraphine line just because like I like going into the Sacred Tree Beast, considering that he is basically your Omni Negate for this deck at least. And yeah, something to consider. Now for the Xyz lineup, you know, double Rafflesia. Definitely want to play this at least 2. Maybe you could play this at 3 if you wanted to, but I decided to just stick with 2. Especially because I decided to now bump up Penguicula to 2. Just because, you know, it's a searcher, it gains immunity based on whatever types it has as for its material. So yeah, Penguicula is still a powerful card and definitely a worthy addition to the extra deck. 1 Allomeris. Some people don't like it, but I like it because it's just good for the late game. So yeah, it does come up from time to time. 1 Rika Queen Strena. This basically goes along with the Aromaseraphine line. So you use the Aromaseraphine's effect to tribute it, and then from there, Strena's effect will kick off, where if it's tributed, you can special summon any rank 5 or higher plant Xyz monster, and this card becomes its materials, so in which case you're going to go into the Sacred Tree Beast Hyperton. This is basically an Omni Negate, and yeah, it's pretty good. And then from here on out, I'm just playing some rank 4 toolbox cards, so like 1 Baguska, 1 Abyss Dweller, and of course 1 Time Thief Redoer. Just like I said, they're just really good for toolboxy stuff. And if you wanted to, if you're able to, you can make room for Gaga Cowboy if you just need a win for time. But I'm usually okay without playing it, so yeah, not too bad, right? All right, so now for the side deck. Side deck's a little different, but not too different. I'm still playing 3 copies of Drone Lockbird on the side. I think I did play this on the side last time, but I could be wrong. It's been a while, you know. And this time I decided to try out Raigeki, just to have more board breakers, especially if I'm going second. So yeah, I think Raigeki's pretty strong. I mean, Tenpai Dragons plays this, so why not? And like I said, we don't have as many Omni Negates anymore, especially like the more oppressive ones like Baron, Savage, or even Appaloosa. Or actually, Appaloosa was a monster negate, scratch that. But the point is like, now it's just easier to break through boards now. Moving on, 3 copies of D-Barrier, just for certain matchups like Branded, you know, call fusions, or even Yubel if, you know, you don't want that Phantom of Yubel to come out. Against Tenpai, just call Synchro, and they can't play Synchros, and yeah, it gets pretty annoying. I'm also on the Grave of the Super Ancient Organisms. This card is just really good against Tenpai, really strong against Branded, and even against Yubel, because, you know, they all have like such high levels. And actually, this is actually strong against the Azamina lineup too, because like the Azaminas are primarily level 6 and highers. So yeah, definitely a great way to just stop your opponent in their tracks if they're on cards like that. And then 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. This is primarily if I know I'm going to go first, or if I get a hunch if my opponent forces me to go first, which going second decks are starting to become a thing again. So like it wouldn't be that out of the ordinary if I'm forced to go first. So yeah, 3 Solemn Judgment is still a powerful option for this deck, and definitely something worth trying, you know? But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys again next time.